Do you keep repeating the same relationship patterns? Do you keep going from one relationship to the next? Do you keep facing rejection after rejection? Do you swipe right and it always goes wrong? This is why it's so important to wait before you date. It's so important to give yourself time to find yourself, to find who you really are outside of a relationship, to find your independence, to find your stability without needing to find that within another person. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach and I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse. We've been led to believe that it's not okay to be single. We've been led to believe that there's something wrong with us if we're not married before we're 30 and we don't have kids. We feel like we're the only one out of our group that's single and that we need to rush into another relationship or that we need to have this done before a certain time limit. But this is fucking bullshit. We've been led to believe that sex is not a sacred act that we can just go around using people as objects. We've been led to believe that love isn't real, that the fairy tale can't be had. So we're rushing into these relationships one after the other and we're getting ourselves nowhere. You know, and I used to do this years ago, and I remember this is one thing that sticks in my head and triggers me, is like I think I was single for 6 months, which was a long time, apparently. And all my friends were like, oh, it's time to get back on the horse. It's not normal for you to be single that long. 6 months is not long enough to fucking be single. If you're after coming out of a long-term relationship or even a short-term relationship, whether it was toxic or harmonious, you're gonna need time to heal. We all hold an abandonment wound. We all have this rejection wound from when we were children. We all have a wounded inner child. So every time we feel rejection, every time we let ourselves get into another relationship, this triggers our codependency. This triggers our lack of self-worth. This triggers our rejection. And this is it. If we don't consciously heal between relationships, we're only going to repeat the same patterns. We're only going to get the same rejection and we're only going to feel the same way. You know, and it's just, dating is so superficial. Online dating is just it's a formula for rejection, because a lot of the time somebody will swipe right with you and then they fucking use you and discard you and ghost you. This world, this new generation of dating is full of users and ghosts. It's as simple as that. I don't do online dating. I tried it fucking once and I didn't. I set up an account. That's how I tried it. Then I deleted that fucking account because I saw how superficial it was. Do you know what I mean? I've never actually gone on an online date or gone online dating properly because it's absolutely does not make you feel icky. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, where is the depth of that? And you're putting all your trust into a complete stranger who is effectively lying to you, because that's how they can do it on a fucking text message. And they can just literally come into your life, treat you like shit, and then walk away again. But you're allowing it to happen over and over again. You're allowing your abandonment to be re-triggered over and over again. And then because of your emotions and your feelings of rejection, you jump right into the next guy who says, oh, you're pretty. And we fall hook, line and sinker for the fucking dick sand. It's bullshit. You know, we've been led to believe that we need a man for protection. We need to be in a relationship because we're not able to do life on our own, ladies. That's fucking bullshit. It's absolute fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? Being independent and in your power is fucking sexy. It's beautiful. And if a man can't handle that, that's his problem. But this is what it's about. It's about finding who you are. 6 months, I don't even think a year is long enough to find yourself. I've been single for 7 years and I've been celibate for most of them. Do you know what I mean? At the start I wasn't, because I was still figuring out the fact that sex is actually sacred. You know, and like, I used to feel weird about admitting that I was celibate because, you know, what are people going to say? You're not normal if you're not in a relationship. You're not normal if you don't have casual sex. Well, I'm fucking not normal and I'm fucking proud to be not normal. Do you know what I mean? But I feel better in my own skin. You know what I mean? When I was dating, casually dating back years ago, it was disgusting. It was degrading. I used to drink alcohol as well. So a lot of the times there was beer goggles and you'd wake up the next morning full of regret. You know what I mean? And like, you know, you'd end up with narcissists, you'd end up with users, abusers, over and over and over again. But it's only when I saw my own pattern that I was like, this isn't for me anymore. I started my twin flame journey anyway, but I started to realize that being with somebody sexually or emotionally is a spiritual thing. It's a sacred thing. And I would rather wait completely single and celibate for the love that I deserve instead of hurting myself over and over again by allowing ghosts or users into my life. And that's what I've decided. I would rather be single for the rest of my life than lower myself. This is my opinion. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you for online dating. That's your choice. But my own sense of self, I will not go down that mediocre dating route. And I just won't. I'm happier on my own. But this is what we need to get out of our heads. There's nothing wrong with being single. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Actually, it's the best feeling in the world. I've gone on holidays with friends as the only single person. You know, I've gone to weddings as the only single person. And I fucking love it. It's not to go out and fucking, to flirt or see anyone. It's going out and being free and having no baggage and no ties. And like, you know, yes, it's beautiful to be in a nice relationship, but it's also beautiful to be in a nice relationship with yourself. Bring yourself out on dates. Like, I love going to the cinema on my own. You know what I mean? I love it. And I love going watching kiddie movies in the cinema on my own because it's free. It's freedom, like, you know what I mean? Bring yourself out for dates. Buy yourself flowers. Empower yourself. We need to stop seeking outside ourselves for the validation that is within us. Because of our wounded inner child, we're seeking outside ourselves for love. We're seeking outside ourselves thinking that we're only worthy if somebody is in love with us or if somebody is nice to us. If somebody says, oh, you're beautiful, we fall for the dick's hand. It's fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? Why are we so fixated on we feel we're not good enough if we're single? You know, and I remember I was about 30 and a guy in his early 30s I used to work with, married with kids, happy, whatever, that's your thing. And I was like, I'm at the stage in my life now, I've had the toxic relationships in my 20s. I'm at the stage in my life now where I want to be free. You know what I mean? And it's just like, he looked at me as if I had two heads. As if I was weird, as if there was something wrong with me. And it's just like, no. Getting married in your 20s, I think, is bullshit anyway, because you're only a fucking child and you haven't actually discovered who you truly are. This is it, like, you know, this is the thing. I watch Married at First Sight and it's great because it's behind the scenes coaching and everything. So, you know, I'm watching this to psychoanalyze these relationships. And it's just, right. Like, literally, the end of the show, Final Vows, it's about a month till the reunion. And within that month, there's people who have dropped out of the show and broken up with their partners, and they're dating other partners in the show within a month. If you're going into a fucking show where you're married at first sight, but yet you're easily kind of going, that didn't work out, so I'll jump into bed with this one. The fuck are you doing on that show in the first place? I'm sorry, but what the actual fuck? You know what I mean? How can you quickly go from one thing into the other? How can you let somebody into your sacred space and then let somebody else into your sacred space without cleansing your energy? You take on energy by being in the same room as people. Actually, you don't even need to be in the same room. You can be in the same area because we're all energetic beings. We feel each other's energy. So that the most potent way to take on someone's energy is through intimacy. Who are you letting into your sacred space? And if you're not giving yourself enough time between, you know, sexual partners, you're taking on all of that energy. And if they're all assholes, you're taking on a hell of a lot of asshole energy. You know, so you're going to need time to cleanse that shit, like. Do you know what I mean? Get that fucking shit out of your system. Give yourself time to be free. Like, we have forgotten how beautiful it is to be alone. You know, I know, yes, humans or whatever, they're not supposed to be alone. But actually we are. How are you supposed to be happy within a fucking relationship if you're not happy on your own? Not happy in your own company? You know what I mean? If you're sitting there unhappy alone, that means you're dependent on other human beings for your happiness. That is unhealthy, but that is also fucking selfish. You go into a relationship, you're not, like Will Smith has a quote, I should be happy on my own, she should be happy on her own. We should bring that happiness together into the relationship and share that happiness. But to expect another human being to be the reason for your happiness is actually fucking selfish. If you can't do it yourself, you shouldn't expect anyone else to fucking do it for you. Now, that's obviously not word for word, but you know what I mean? We've lost sight of who we are. And this is the thing. Who are you? Who are you outside of a relationship? Because I remember when I ended my second toxic relationship in my 20s, my inner child wound was really, really triggered. And I knew that this wasn't a relationship that I wanted to be in. But yet there was like parts of me going, what if no one ever loves me again? What if he's the only person? Like, and it was toxic. Like, it got violent towards the end. Like, it was a toxic relationship. But yet, because I was so codependent, because I felt I needed to be protected, and because I felt I needed to be in a relationship, I was still kind of going, maybe it'll work out. Maybe it will. He was a misogynistic fucking asshole. Why the fuck would I want that to work out? My inner child felt, or my conditioning felt, that I needed to be protected by a man. I was living on my own at 19, and because of 2 toxic relationships, I became codependent on another human being, or 2, you know what I mean? This is not right, like. And we're going from one relationship into the next because we cannot live on our own. We cannot survive on our own because we've been fucking conditioned to believe that we need to have a fucking man that's protected. And this is another thing with women as well in this country, or I don't know, around the world, wherever. We've been all brainwashed into believing that we need to marry a man that's 10 years fucking older so that, he can provide somebody to replace your dad. And then the men are fucking marrying women to replace their mothers. What the fuck? This is why we need time on our own to become independent, to be able to look after ourselves and not be dependent on another human being to survive. And this is what it is. It's fucking toxic. All dating sites, they're just toxic. That's my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, you're literally setting yourself up for rejection every time you go swipe right. You are. Like, and don't get me wrong, I'm a sucker for a love story. If you met online and you found your happy ever after, I believe that can happen, and I believe that is beautiful. But a lot of the time, there's just assholes and ghosts who want to swipe right for their hole, and that's it. Do you get me? And then you're the one suffering. You're the one being rejected over and over again because you fell for the dick stand because you're unhealed wounding from your previous relationship. You know what I mean? Like, I'm on my healing journey for almost 7 years. And I've had my ups and downs. I've had my spiritual awakening, more than one. I've had more than one heart awakening. I've been on this roller coaster ride. I've even had a relapse. You know what I mean? So obviously it's taken me a bit longer than it should because I've had I've gone backwards a few times. You know what I mean? It's been a bit of a spiral. But if I'm still healing after 7 years with the relapses, so, give or take or whatever, and I know that I'm close. I'm close to being fully ready, but I know I've had some stuff to work on very lately around my heart chakra. And it's just like, if I'm working on my heart for 7 years and I'm still only nearly ready, fair enough, I've only been really intensely healing for the last year and a half, really intense after my relapse. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a year and a half after my relapse, and I still have some stuff that I need to work through. Like, when I say relapse, I became codependent on a family member, so it's different, but it's the same wounding. So, like, I'm still a year and a half after my re-wounding, say, and I'm still working on it. So, like, I know a year and a half isn't long enough. You definitely need a couple of years. That's my opinion. So we need to start feeling empowered being single. We need to start owning our independence. We have to stop being codependent on another human being for our happiness. And stop setting yourself up for rejection. Because if you're going into the next thing wounded, you're going in with all the fears that have happened, the things that have happened in your previous relationships. You're going in with the fear of rejection, the fear of abandonment, the fear the past will repeat itself, and what you think you manifest. So if you think good things, you manifest them. But if you fear something, you also manifest that. So therefore, you're going into one relationship after the other with the same wounding on top of the next wounding. So like what I'm saying is, like, if you don't give yourself enough time to heal, you're burying that emotion. You go into another relationship, you're burying that emotion on top of that. You go into another one, you're burying that emotion on top of that. This shit will pile up like a pressure cooker and it will fucking explode. You need to find who you are. And this is another reason why we attract toxic, narcissistic abusers as well. It's because of our wounding. We're attracting volatile fucking relationships because of our wounding. We need to give ourselves time to heal. We need to empower ourselves again. We need to be so happy within our own skin, unconditionally loving to ourselves, that we only attract in healthy relationships. But give yourself time to find that healthy relationship. If you're not ready internally, if you don't know who you are, how the fuck is your soulmate or your twin flame going to spot you? Because you're literally hiding behind all this wounding. You're not showing your true self. You're not empowering yourself. If you want healthy love to be attracted into your life, work on you. Give yourself time to be free. Give yourself time to discover who you are outside of a relationship. Who you are. That is so important. Love yourself, rediscover who you are, and then bring that into a relationship. Can you imagine being in an interdependent relationship where you don't have the worries about rejection, where you're so healed you can have open conversations? There's magic ahead if you have patience. We're such creatures of instant gratification. But look, if you're swiping fucking right and then getting rejected, that's not instant gratification. That's excessive wounding to your fucking heart chakra. That is, and your inner child. That's not instant gratification. We're thinking we're getting instant gratification and we're actually getting instant rejection. Wait. Because when we wait for something, it gives it time to bloom, to blossom into its full potential. So if you wait, you blossom into your full potential, and then you get to attract in that magical, high vibrational love that you so truly deserve. This is what it's all about. Feel empowered in your singlehood. Don't be in a fucking rush to settle down, because you know what? If you settle down too early, you'll end up fucking resenting it, because you'll end up settling for the wrong person. But when you find out who you are, you won't settle. And that's it. What is that? When you discover, I can't remember, it's a quote like, but when you discover, I don't know, your true self anyway, it tastes better than what attention was. Because getting attention from someone does not feel half as good as loving and accepting yourself. And that is a fact. Do you know what I mean? I am happier than I've ever been in my whole life. I am healthier than I've ever been in my whole life, because I'm working on me, because I'm empowering myself. And that is beautiful. And yes, of course I want my happy ever after. I'm waiting for my twin flame. I'm on that journey. And, you know, it might happen for me tomorrow. It might not ever happen for me. But I'm happy enough in my own skin that if I was single for the rest of my life, I'd be okay with that. Genuinely, I would be okay with that. So that's where we need to be. We need to stop seeking outside ourselves for that validation and look for it where it is, right within us. Heal your inner child, heal your heart, heal yourself, and rediscover who you are outside of a relationship. It is empowering to be single. So wait before you date. Thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you'd like help on your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I would love nothing more than to help you on your path.